Hello everyone and welcome back to ABG's Investor Days. My name is Carl Bokvist and I'm an industrial equity analyst here at ABG. With us now we have CTT Systems and CEO Henrik Höjer, and we will have the same format as before with an introductory presentation followed by some Q&A from my side. So without further ado, Henrik, thank you for joining us and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Carl. And I also say hi and welcome to the CTT presentation today. I'm Henrik Höjer, and since 1st of April this year, I'm the CEO of CTT. I've been 12 years running businesses in other business areas, and I'm really happy now to be back in aviation business. Before leaving the aviation business, I worked 18 years with Saab in different aircraft programs, but mostly with the Gripen fighter. And it's really nice to be back in aviation with specific requirements, driving amongst other things, quality, but more important, I think, attracting really competent people, and it's quite interesting. But let's talk about CTT. That's the first picture. As you know, CTT, we have a passion. We solve the moisture paradox in aviation. It's simple, 2 problems, 2 solutions. The dry problem we solve with humidifiers on board, and the wet problems we solve with anti-condensation systems. You're also most likely familiar with our first quarter earnings, but I'll run through them quickly anyway. So our net sales increased to 49 million compared to 31 last year, the first quarter. That's actually an increase with 56%. Our EBIT was 14 million compared to 1 million last year, and our earnings per share rose to 0.76 Swedish crowns. And we also generated a positive cash flow on 9 million compared to a negative 7 last year. So, what about the market? Yeah, I would say that we are now not back to normal, but CTT is in a recovery mode and in a good position for continuing to grow and grow back. For the second quarter this year, we forecast the net sales between 50 and 55 million. And important factors in our recovery and growth is that all aftermarket sales, they are almost back to the levels in 2019. And it's strongly driven by resumed intercontinental flying. Our private jet driven business is short-term driven by the VIP business, but also from 2023 we should see that the business jet comes into and helps us growing as well. OEM sales will remain on a low level due to the low production rate of the 787 aircraft, which is only 1 to 2 aircraft per month. Retrofit, the outlook looks really better, but no orders yet. When we now look at the business landscape, we saw that air travel was rebounding in the first quarter. And North America, Europe, and also Middle East, they are leading this recovery, whereas Asia, parts of Asia and China is lagging behind due to the close downs. We see a gradual recovery in international passenger traffic, and also the transatlantic traveling is coming back. The US and Middle East airlines, and now also lately the European, they are starting to do their medium and long-term strategic plans to increase their passenger capacity and also upgrade their fleets to strengthen their competitiveness. The US airlines reported in April that they foresee a very strong second quarter, where traffic starts to rebound to pre-pandemic levels with a very strong demand for both business and leisure travel. And also a little bit later, the big European airlines reported the same. Airlines also forecast to come back into black numbers in the second quarter, despite high fuel prices, but they see that the demand is so strong that they can offset these increasing costs on higher ticket prices. But air travel is cyclic, we know that, and with higher interest rates and also higher cost, higher inflation, this can have an effect on the passengers' willingness to spend on tickets. But right now, airlines are very, very optimistic, and if they are right, we will see a good recovery on our business. So, aftermarket. As you saw on the first quarter, aftermarket is a very big portion of our business, and we foresee that they will continue to grow and recover. This business increase is based on a few factors. We have more products flying than before the pandemic, both on A350 and the Boeing 787. 99% of the delivered Boeing 787 fleet is now flying again, and later on, when Boeing starts delivering 787 again, we will have even more aircraft out there. There is more than 100 aircraft there to be delivered. A350 market was in 2021 higher than in 2019, and we're seeing that it will continue to grow since we add more and more Airbus 350 to the fleets. So in summary, our aftermarket growth is driven by more flight hours coming from longer flights, higher utilization per aircraft, and also an increasing number of aircraft with CTT systems on. OEM. The OEM market is still lagging behind, and it will not contribute to our growth in 2022. But we are in a strong position when the OEM market starts to recover. Boeing 787 is currently on a low build rate, 1 to 2 aircraft, and it will gradually increase to 5 aircraft per month when Boeing starts delivering the aircraft again. Airbus is currently targeting to put their A350 program up to 6 aircraft per month from today's 5. And later on, Boeing expects to start delivering the 777X in 2025. And we are on all these aircrafts. In the background, you see our latest customer. It's Detta Airways with their Airbus A350, the first out of 8, with 2 humidifiers on board. And we always welcome new customers. I think this is an important picture when we look at the OEM growth. And this is how we try to grow this market. We try to grow it with higher selection, with higher aircraft production rates, more content, and of course we try to be on the new programs. As you can see on the 787, we try to get back and have more content, adding the humidification to the cabins. In Airbus A350 and also Boeing 777X, we are everywhere, but we need to get the airlines to select us, so higher selection rate. And then, of course, incremental upgrade and new programs where the long-range Airbus A321 is one opportunity, both for humidification and also for anti-condensation, and they're also adding the Boeing 737 MAX. Then in the future, new programs, we are there and trying to see what kind of position we can have on the new aircraft and increase the CTC content. Cabin humidification retrofits. Quite a lot of interest there. The pandemic put a spotlight on the importance of good air quality, both for passengers and for crew. But at the same time, it stopped a lot of the investments and upgrade programs. So now when travel is rebounding, we, CTC, start to get back in the position we were in 2019. And we notice a growing airline interest for cabin air quality humidification. Short term, there is a limited number of upgrade programs, but the projects will restart when air travel is starting to recover and also the airline comes back into black numbers. This is also partly driven by the delays and the delivery problems we see by 787 and 777X that the airlines need to upgrade their older aircrafts. So This is an area which we haven't penetrated, and now together with our partner, Collins Aerospace, we're really strengthening our efforts to get into this market. Anti-condensation. Yeah, we're currently on a low level when it comes to anti-condensation retrofit segment. But the moisture protection market is currently driven by sustainability, topped with a record high fuel price, and this should make the investment payoff time really be favorable for the airlines. The low-cost airlines are increasing the numbers of passengers per aircraft, and this should mean that they have a greater need for anti-condensation. We're also increasing our efforts to obtain a supplementary type certificate for the Boeing 737 MAX, and we're focusing on all the European airlines where sustainability is a target on their agendas. We have a strong prospect list. Adding to that, our current customer Jet2 ordered another 57 new aircrafts, Airbus A321, and also Transavia ordered another 100 A320s, and this is of course great opportunities for CTT. This is a new slide that you might have not seen before, and it's the freighter market. And during the pandemic, we also saw an increase in the freighter market, and we see that it will continue to increase. Both Boeing and Airbus has launched new programs with their newest aircraft and made freighter versions of them, so the A350 and the 777X. And these aircraft will come into service the next 5 years. CTC has therefore started to approach this market, and we see that there's a great potential when this market grow with another 2,400 aircraft to grow it from today's 2,000 approximately to more than 3,000 20 years later. And we are targeting all the segments of this market, so the new aircrafts, passenger to freighter conversion programs, and also the retrofit programs where more modern aircraft, cargo aircrafts like Boeing 777F and Boeing 767F are retrofitted, and we try to get our humidification system on board. Pilots are a limiting factor in the whole business right now, and we think that the pilots flying the passenger versions of these aircrafts and getting used to humidification will create a demand for humidification in the freighter business as well. We have already reached our first milestone in this segment, and we are now a catalog option on A350, both for the flight deck and for the flight crew rest. And of course, we're now targeting to get into the same position on the 777X freighter version. If we're successful, we will be on both those two aircrafts, and with the new rules of emission, these two aircraft will be the only ones that can be delivered as new aircrafts from 2028. Private jet. CTT has historically focused on the VIP aircrafts only, and CTT is actually dominating that segment. Humidification is a de facto standard on all the wide-body VIP aircrafts, but on narrow-body VIPs, the penetration is much lower. For business jet, humidification has not even been an option in the past. As we speak, one of the largest events in the private jet business is ongoing in Geneva. I just came back after participating in the first day out of 3. And my short summary is that the message from everybody is that the business is really booming. There is a shortage of both new and used aircrafts. We also see that all the big OEMs are introducing large business jets with longer range, filling the gap between smaller business jets and the VIP aircrafts. As an example, Bombardier yesterday introduced their new Global 8000 aircraft, which flies even longer and faster than the 7500. CTT is part of two important announcements this week. CTT, we got an in-flight humidification VIP system order from Fokker Techniek in Holland, and they're installing our systems on the ACJ 330 for the operator K5 Aviation. Fokker will be the first to install our system in all 6 cabin zones on the A330, and this is supported by 6 humidifiers. We also have our anti-condensation system on board, of course. This will make it the 102nd installation of humidification into VIP aircraft, both from Boeing and from Airbus. We also today announced together with the ACJ that we have our systems on their A220, and it will be a promoted option and promoted by Airbus. And this is very, very strong for us. And their CEO and president, Benoit, really supports our system and is actively saying that this is needed to get his aircrafts up to the highest standard. So a very good cooperation with Airbus. To do this and make it even easier in the future to select our systems, we have developed the kit together with Airbus, and now it's a kit that can be easily installed by the completion centers. The first systems will be delivered this year, and it will continue with more systems in 2023. The other big opportunity in this market segment is the large cabin business jet, which I already talked a little bit about. And the market consists of roughly 50 to 100 aircraft per year. It is long-range business jets, which are equipped for the best comfort, and humidification is required to meet these high set standards. And as I said, ACJ 220 will enter into market next year. We are on the first couple of aircrafts. As we also reported earlier, we are on one of the Global 7500. That one has now entered into service, and we see that the operator is very happy with the system. We are now reinforcing our efforts to get onto the OEMs and into the OEMs. So we're discussing both with Bombardier, with Gulfstream, and also hopefully later on also with Dassault on their Falcon programs. And this is just a slide on the ACJ 220, which we talked about already. Also a slide on the Global 7500, and as I said, this is quite a big market, and we now have humidification in all the zones, and the delivery rate is actually 30 to 40 aircraft, and we really try to get into this market. Last but not least, we're also trying to work with other companies to improve the air quality in flight. And the filter functionality in humidifiers increased the customer benefit and the product value. We have worked with Camfield to ensure that we have a good functionality with their filters, and it really works good, removing ozone and other evaporations. The next step in this is to find our first customer. So with that, I move to the last slide, and now been with CTT almost 2 months. I'm very impressed by our products, and I'm even more impressed by all the skilled and dedicated people within CTT. And together with the CTT team, I really look forward to continue our mission to reduce carbon footprint and also improve the air quality and wellness in civil aviation. And at the same time, continue to deliver shareholder value. And with that said, I hand back to Carl for questions.
Perfect. Thank you, Henrik. So the first question, more of a short-term oriented one. The quarterly guidance, 50 to 55, was based on a bit higher private jet deliveries, that the strong aftermarket might have been a bit too strong in the first quarter, but we're now in May. We're approaching semester or summer holidays for many. Do you also feel that the ongoing recovery continues on the current track, so to say?
Absolutely. Just coming back from travels, I can confirm that traveling is back to normal. It's even chaotic, and but we also see that the flights are coming back, and we should be well into our forecast as well.
Because then if we do hear a bit of worries perhaps regarding, as you mentioned, higher fuel prices, and we have maybe a bit of a hesitant activity from Asia now. Is it still so that it's Europe, North America, transatlantic flight that is driving the recovery?
Absolutely. North America is really on track, driving this. Middle East also back on track. And Europe is really coming behind and picking up, and both Lufthansa and Air France had really strong reports a couple of weeks ago where they're really optimistic. The only cloud on the horizon, I think, is capacity in the whole system, both aircrafts, pilots, ground staff, air staff. That's what's holding it back. I think the demand from the travels are there.
And then if we look at the, so to say, OEM business, when you look at the potential to gain humidification in the Dreamliner, for example, how are those customer dialogues progressing? Are there airliners with both the 350 and the 787 that you can sort of leverage to say, look at what you have in one part of your fleet?
That's really something we try to do, to map this and compare the aircrafts. You see that a few airlines that had A350s are now taking 787s, and we really try to push this. Some aircrafts are redirected to other customers. They thereby will get humidification, and hopefully this can also increase their appetite for the future to select humidification in future deliveries.
But do you feel that this is something like, once a customer actually has humidification on board, have you seen situations where a customer has had humidification and for the next round decided not to select it?
No, I don't think we have any examples like that. No.
So then on the private jet side, or business jet, VIP, private, you released the news today about the ACJ, previously announced it as in development, now it's an optionality. Maybe without saying too much, but the lead times on these projects, and you highlighted the other aircraft that are potentially there. How long could the potential lead time be from discussions to development to actually being selected?
But I think ACJ 220 is a good example where we have been developing the system starting late last year, I think, coming into the testing now, and then see the first deliveries out on the market next year. So then that makes us somewhere 18-24 month cycles. I think that is realistic. Then the starting point is, of course, a little bit further down or closer to us, where we need to now start the discussions with, as I said, Bombardier. Hey, we have your system, our system on one of your aircrafts. There is a type certificate for it. The installation is made. Can we see how we can get it on as an option for your production lines? And then, of course, we are in the position starting that now. That will probably take a while before they say, yes, let's go for it. And then you have another 18 months. So you'll have to maybe add this marketing phase on up to a year, and then you have the 18 to 24 months before you can see that we start getting deliveries out.
And the final question, the freighter potential. Does that require any form of modification on your end?
I mean, we have the systems on A350 cabin and crew rest already, so that should be standard, 787 the same. Now we hope that, and we also have it for 777X, and now we hope that they will select it for the freighter version, so not much. Then, of course, for the huge retrofit market, we will need to see what kind of aircraft come into play and who is the retrofitter of it, and we are starting up these discussions as well. And then it will be more like a normal retrofit for us that we'll have to adopt the kit. But as you know, we've done it before, and I think we can do it in the future as well.
With that, our time is running up. Thank you, Henrik. Thank you, CTT. And thank you, all of you who have been listening.
Thank you.